Welcome, everybody. It's important to understand why quality and purity are so vital and worth striving for. As we hear over and over, quality matters, and it starts long before seeds are planted. Knowing this, it's imperative for doTERRA to be as close to the source as possible. Of equal importance to doTERRA is our scientific and medical communities. It's an honor to be hosting a discussion about quality and why quality matters with esteemed experts in the field today. Thank you so much for joining us, and let's go ahead and do a few introductions. Mark, joining us from Austin, Texas, thank you so much. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, hi, thank you for including me. My name is Mark Blumenthal. I'm the founder and executive director of the American Botanical Council. We're an independent nonprofit research and education organization made up of scientists, health professionals, and herb experts from around the world. And we focus on research and education on herbs, medicinal plants, botanical extracts, essential oils, medicinal fungi and mushrooms, etc. So we are a science organization.
Thank you so much, and we're excited to have you here on the panel today. Dr. Satyal.
Hello everyone, I'm Prabodh Satyal, Chief Scientific Officer for Aromatic Plant Research Center, APRC. I received my doctorate master's degree on essential oil research in University of Alabama, Huntsville. I've been doing essential oil research it's closer to more than 10 years.
And what has your research been focused on primarily?
Most of the research are focused on adulteration,
okay,
discovery of synthetic marker, and chirality-based adulteration detection.
Okay.
And those are the things that helps to, decipher adulteration in those time, so.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me here.
Thank you. Dr. Osgathorpe.
Great to be here, Andrew. My name is Russ Osgathorpe. I am the Chief Medical Officer at doTERRA and by training a pediatric infectious diseases specialist.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us. We just watched the first episode of the new series, The Pursuit, which will document the great lengths our sourcing team goes to sustainably source the purest essential oils on the planet. This episode, of course, was about clove, which, as we've seen, is frequently and unfortunately adulterated. Dr. Osgathorpe, reflect a little bit on the video.
I agree. It's very important to us here at doTERRA. The story is a fantastic example of how adulteration finds its way without being very careful, can find its way into our homes.
Yeah, like Dr. Osgathorpe said, clove bud is one of the most adulterated essential oil. And last year I did market survey of several retail supplier. I found more than 90% were adulterated.
Getting rid of adulteration in supply chains across the world, not just for doTERRA, but for everybody, is important work.
And speaking of adulteration, Mark, I read with interest your organization's recent bulletin published in early July with regards to the adulteration of English lavender, Lavandula angustifolia, which is, of course, the lavender that doTERRA loves. And can you elaborate on this study, its findings, for us a little bit, please?
Yes, thank you. It's part of our program which is going into its 10th year of operation soon, called the Botanical Adulterants Prevention Program, which is an international consortium of organizations that we lead, dealing with research and education on adulteration and fraud in the global marketplace for herbs, herbal extracts, essential oils, etc. We've previously published a bulletin on the adulteration of tea tree oil, a lab guidance document on tea tree oil, and then in July of this year, we just published the bulletin on lavender. The lavender bulletin has been extensively peer-reviewed by 25 experts in the area of chemistry, of medicinal plants and essential oils, people in academia, government, and industry in the United States and around the world. So it is a highly credible document. It has over 101 references to it, and it's basically a scientific bulletin or almost like a technical white paper that is very extensive, showing the types of adulteration of English lavender, the chemistry, what the evidence for the adulteration is, with many references based on the chemistry and previous reports that have been published in book chapters and in scientific journals about adulteration of lavender. So if anybody ever doubted whether lavender, English lavender, was ever adulterated, we have definitively confirmed that it is being adulterated, which is really no surprise to many of us. But some people suggest that over 50%, maybe 70 or more percent of the world's stock of so-called lavender is actually adulterated in one way or another.
Yeah. Thoughts on that, Dr. Osgathorpe?
Oh, I mean, yes, I have so many thoughts on that.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy that lavender, which is used by hundreds of millions of people every day across the world in a plethora of products, they just don't know what they're using.
Yeah.
We have done with both APRC as well as doTERRA partnerships with NCNPR at the University of Mississippi, similar studies on adulteration, and have found that up to 2/3 of the lavenders currently on the market, marketed as essential oils, not just products containing lavender, but the essential oils on the market, 2/3 of them are highly adulterated and of poor quality. It is important to know what it is that you're using. doTERRA goes to exceptional lengths to make it clear to everyone what you're using. We publish and source to you the GCMS of each lot of lavender that we sell you. We get rid of many, many totes, huge batches of lavender that don't meet our quality specifications or that are adulterated. Tim Valentiner and his team go to exceptional lengths of making sure that our supply chains are full of quality lavender rather than adulterated lavender. I can't say this really strongly enough. We as an industry have to clean up ourselves because nobody's watching. So doTERRA's doing it right.
Yeah.
Very few people in the industry are.
Yeah.
And we should call it out when we see it.
Absolutely.
And so these publications that the American Botanical Council, that APRC, that NCNPR are doing are all playing a role in helping everyone around the world to understand how adulteration affects us.
Yeah. And Mark, how is your the bulletins that you're putting out, how is it being received?
People tell us in various companies that they have reset and revised specifications for various ingredients, botanical ingredients, based on our adulteration reports, and consequently have often changed their suppliers, presumably to a better supplier, because of the information they've learned from us about adulteration. So we believe we're having a positive impact, which in the long run, at the end of the day, is good for the consumer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, a report like that has to be produced a lot,
Yeah.
Not only lavender, I was asking him to, make more.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of problems on industry.
I know last year you conducted a market study on lavender. Mark alluded somewhere between 50 and 70% on the market potentially being adulterated. What was sort of the findings for your market study that you conducted?
We did on 50 companies.
Yeah.
Around 78% were adulterated.
I know we are very proud of our partnerships. You alluded to the NCNPR partnership, which is the National Center for Natural Products Research at the University of Mississippi. How's that partnership going, Dr. Osgathorpe?
Oh, phenomenally well. We've had a great year with them. So we're working on similar research to what the American Botanical Council with Mark and what APRC has done with lavender. We're also helping to fund and support research into lavender adulteration. In that research, what they're doing at NCNPR is using doTERRA's oil as the gold standard for what a quality oil should look like. And this body of work, which will be peer-reviewed and published, will greatly enhance the field and everyone's ability to detect adulteration as well as root it out of the supply chain.
A couple of years ago, there were some scientific reports made with regards to lavender that caused some concern with our customers and the general public. The issue in question was that lavender was causing breast development in young boys. Specifically, the study mentioned that boys were exposed to lavender fragrance containing products such as colognes, shampoos, and soaps. Mark, I know you've studied this issue and that your organization is preparing to release a paper soon on this issue. And would you like to kind of elaborate a little bit on that for us?
Yes, thank you. And let me just say that the paper has not been completed. We're waiting for some more laboratory tests. It has not yet been submitted to a peer-reviewed journal. So we always want to be careful about discussing something before it's been peer-reviewed. So basically what we have is misreporting in the medical literature by well-meaning people who are clinicians or basically reporting what they saw, and they see that the kids were taking or bathing with lavender fragrance materials, which when they took the materials away, some of these symptoms stopped. So there was definitely a certain association that may be causal related to these materials, but they did not contain, to the best of our knowledge, any essential oil of lavender, but may have contained some synthetic lavender type fragrances, as well as any other types of materials that might you find in cosmetics. So it's difficult to really pinpoint what the putatively offensive material might be, but it's not essential oil of lavender to the best of our knowledge.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. I agree that if you're going to implicate a particular ingredient in a long list of ingredients in a product, you should prove that that ingredient is there before you write the article.
Well, thanks, Mark, for all of the great work that you're doing at the American Botanical Council.
Agreed.
And we really appreciate kind of you pioneering these efforts for so many years. Probode, quality and purity, why does this matter for the customer?
Because when you go and buy in market, when you are going to buy apple, don't buy the orange,
Yeah.
Because most of the essential oil companies are selling their oils are 100% pure and natural, but they are not.
Yeah.
And you are being cheated by the retailer or seller.
Yeah.
So that's not fair. Like Dr. Osgothorpe thinks adulteration is criminal.
Yeah.
I do also think the same way.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Well, conclude us here today, Dr. Osgothorpe.
I think the reason that it matters, Andrew, is it's a safety issue.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're putting on or into your bodies, you could potentially be doing harm. Knowing what is in the bottle is the foundation of safety.
Thank you, and thank you all for joining us here today. This has been a fantastic and insightful discussion, and what separates doTERRA in this industry is our pursuit and commitment to purity. We hold ourselves, our supply lines, and our products to the highest standards, and every oil in every batch is 100% pure, guaranteed by our rigorous testing process, and of course, as we've seen today, the fantastic team in the field, there being as close to the source as possible. And now we're going to take you into the lab to help you understand the meticulous and painstaking efforts, as Dr. Osgothorpe laid out, that doTERRA goes to in order to bring you pure and efficacious products.
All right, guys, so we're here at the doTERRA lab, and this is where we test all of our oils to make sure that the chemistry is optimal and there are no contaminants. Now, we run this several different times along the manufacturing process, just to be sure. You can never be too sure.